Hello, my name's Liz Burrow. I'm a social worker in Cheltenham. My role as a social worker brings me into contact with carers through the assessment process. A carer's assessment is an assessment of your needs in your own right. There are two types of assessment, one being a combined assessment which is done when the service user is assessed and stuff, if you're party to that assessment. A separate carer's assessment is done generally following the initial assessment and is something separate and individual for you as a carer. So you might be thinking, why have a carer's assessment? And I think really because it gives you a couple of options. The ability to be able to talk through what your needs are for you as a carer, and also to be able to support you in accessing services that might be able to help you to meet your needs and that of the service user that you're caring for. It can actually take place at any time. It doesn't matter whether the person that you're supporting is actually receiving any services or not. If you're providing a substantial amount of care support for somebody, then you're entitled to an assessment in your own right, regardless of whether the other person that you're caring for has had an assessment. You get a carer's assessment by making a referral to our customer service officers. They will just get a general overview of your situation. They will take down all the information and then they will pass that to the relevant teams, who will then contact you in due course and discuss with you your needs and how caring is impacting on your life and what support and services you may need to assist you with your caring role. So for example, one case where I was working closely with a young lad and his mother, once discharged from hospital and back home living in the family environment, he was sort of starting to become quite dependent on mum and asking mum to deal with things for him on his behalf. Mum was finding it increasingly stressful. She was taking on quite a large proportion of his care. She also had other family members to consider. She was working part-time. There was lots of different things sort of going on for this family. I saw it as an appropriate opportunity to actually spend some time with mum on her own. Went met her somewhere separately. We talked openly about how things were impacting on her, how she wanted to achieve greater independence for her son, and what sort of support we could look to input there to try and help her and achieve that. So as a result of meeting with mum separately, we agreed that I would have straightforward contact with the son direct, so that he would become more independent and pressure would be reduced on her. Secondly, we would increase the care package to relieve some of the pressure from mum. And thirdly, we would make an application to the Carers Flexible Services Panel to look at a separate service for mum in her own right. Following a carer's assessment, one of the possible options that can be looked into is a Carers Flexible Service. Now, Carers Flexible Service is a flexible way of looking at support to meet the carer's needs. It's a one-off service for up to £250 that can be applied for by the panel, by your social worker. Examples of things that can be used for are support with driving licences, support with purchasing white goods like a washing machine to enable you to continue caring and support with that. Specialist things like aromatherapy or massage services to help you relax when you're caring. There are the Carers Flexible Services that we've talked about, additional care support, and with that it can be like domiciliary care support, so that's carers coming into your own home to help the person that you're caring for. Alternatively, there are like daycare facilities and support arrangements for the person that you care for to go to a day centre, for example. That will give you time and a day sort of break. Respite services, so that can be additional care support in the home to give you a break from caring, or it could be that the person that you care for goes to a residential or a nursing home dependent on their needs. Direct payments, and that is where instead of receiving a directly provided service, you have cash to purchase your own services to meet your needs, and that can be based against the service user's assessment or against your assessment. occupational therapy assessments and stuff, which can then lead on to relevant pieces of equipment and adaptations to their home and stuff that will make caring for somebody easier. I've talked a lot about, you know, all different sorts of types of services available really, and access to those services are subject to assessment, and that is assessment of need in terms of the service user and yourself as a carer. So carers assessments really are the way forward in accessing these sort of support mechanisms and additional services that you may well be entitled to. The aim is to sort of work at your pace and to try and work with you and appreciate, you know, how things are for you and what life's like, and try to look at ways of supporting you to improve the quality of your life and that of the person that you're caring for.